as many of you are aware, after the second episode of LEGO's Island in 2017 on March 27th, the series was completely forgotten, and there wasn't another episode for 8 months until November 3rd, 2017. Now, what would have LEGO's Island been like if, this entire inactive hiatus didn't happen? Well, in this Saturday Stories, we're going to talk about exactly that. And to be quite honest, this should not even take that long at all, considering the island's schedule back then probably would have been extremely small, considering what we now see in the Creations world is basically what LEGO's Island would have been like that said year. But I'll go through it regardless. Now, remember when I said this in 2018.
And remember, all events are only dedicated for holidays. So
what would have been the first event after the island's grand opening party? Well, it most likely would have been an April Fool's party, because it literally would have just been like 1 week after the island's opening, and it would have been probably most likely from April 1st to the 8th. Now, granted, ironically funny enough, the only one to technically get one on that said day was the backyard, because ironically that's when backyard events were introduced at the time. So most likely what would have happened is that the April Fool's party would have happened from April 1st to the 8th, at least here. And yes, I am using footage from 2018, considering that was ending up being the first April Fool's party. But speaking of Easter, actually, just to purposely clarify, that there would have obviously been an Easter event for 2017, which probably would have gone for probably just the day of Easter, much like the Zol's Up 2 one, because back then, a majority of the Easter events, like back then, were only like 1 day. So if I had to remember correctly, it probably would have only also gone for just that 1 day. And then not long after that, the Earth Day party would have began. So that would have been on like April 16th, because Easter was April 16th that year. Yeah, there most likely would have been an Earth Day party like not long after that. And that probably would have been like April 20th through the 25th. So basically the exact same time as Zola's Up 2. And it probably, if I had to take a guess, much like Zola's Up 2, which we did end up seeing this in 2018, it probably would have also introduced the Recycle Center as well. So regardless, we probably would not have saw the Recycle Center in 2018 if it was there in 2017. If I'm being quite honest with all of you. It probably would have been just as small as the 2018 one. Maybe just a little smaller than that. Much like 2018, we would have also most likely had a Memorial Day party, which, just like that party, it only went for 1 day of May 28th back in 2018. Now, obviously, since this would be the year prior, this obviously would have only been on May 29th, 2017. And probably would have looked almost exactly how the 2018 one would have looked. Maybe just slightly smaller. But almost exactly how the one the year after looked. Of course, with, less room, since, of course, remember, first year of the island. Now, this next one's interesting. Would we have had LEGO's Island Summer in 2017 if the island wasn't inactive? I'm going to be honest and say yes. But I don't think it would have been for the full 3 months that we saw back in 2018. Yeah, you see, I think it would have just been the June events. And then, like a month later, we would have done 4th of July standalone. I think that's probably what I would have done. And yeah, and if you do recall, in 2017, Zola's Up 2's June events was the summer party. So if I had to guess, probably to kick off summer, much like how we did in 2018, the June event would have only just been the summer party, and that would have been it. It wouldn't have gone for like the full 3 months that we did back in 2018 and in the present, which of course will still be this year's LEGO's Island Summer after the island returns. Which is actually immediately after the Welcome Back party. So, yeah. Anyway, that's actually pretty interesting. So, yeah, LEGO's Island Summer, I think I still would have done it, but probably not for, like, the full 3 months that we did back in 2018 through, of course, the present that we do nowadays. Again, it probably would have just been the June event, much like 2017's Zola's Up 2. And then again, 4th of July, I think, would have been standalone. Also, I don't think the island would have been decorated that much, considering it would have been a much smaller event. And also considering it wouldn't have been for 3 months straight. That's another thing. But it would have been cool to see what would have been. So yes, Legos Island Summer definitely would have been a thing in 2017, just not in the format that we would have done in 2018 with the whole 3-month format. And also, I don't think it would have had its own standalone series, because it wouldn't have been that long. It would have only maybe been like a week or something. So, I thought I'd just clarify that. Like I said, 4th of July most likely would have been held on its own. And probably in, if I had to ironically guess, the exact same rooms that we would have done in 2018. And this is ironically the first time I'm not using footage from 2018. Instead, it's actually from 2021. Mainly because that had a only one room. Because it was World Tour at the time. Which was pretty freaking cool. Anyway, like I said, this probably would have been in the same rooms as the ones that we kept seeing from 2018 through 2020, respectively. And yeah, it probably would have just been that, minus the summer decoration. I'm not even kidding. And also, much like those events, it also would have only been for like just the one day of July 4th. Much like how all the other ones were. So, yeah, there's not much else to say beyond that point. To be honest, for August and September, I have no idea what I would have done, since we would have already had the summer party in June. Also, we didn't come up with the Labor Day party until 2019, and we also didn't come up with the Fall Mini event also until 2019. For November, we probably would have just done a usual Thanksgiving mini event like we saw in 2018 and all years after that point. 2017 would have probably been the only year to not have a mission-based event, as of course the first mission-based event ended up ironically being the Underwater Expedition in May of 2018, which ironically we just hit the 6th-year anniversary of that literally just one day before this. With all that being said, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next episode on Saturday, May 18th for the next Saturday Stories. I was supposed to do this story months ago, if it wasn't already obvious. Actually, that's because I kept telling you throughout the last, I want to say maybe half a year or something? Or maybe even longer. But boy, I finally got it over with. Hooray! That's one less story I still have to get over. Wonder what else I still have to get done for stories. Also, can I please finally be back to being active with this series? That'd be nice. Were you guys expecting the schedule to be any different than this? Comment down below. I'd love to hear your feedback. It mostly would have just been holidays and seasons, much like the Creations